Living with a Danish girlfriend, I cannot tell whether the differences we have in certain points of view are because she's Danish and I'm from the United States, or it's just that she's another person and I'm another person. She's a woman, I'm a guy, just different people. And one of those things has to do with practicality, because I like to store things in the freezer. I like to buy meats, and if I don't use them all, I like to store them. Well, at some point, the freezer gets too full. It becomes sort of like a storage of old meats. And my Danish girlfriend says, we have to sort through this stuff and get rid of the stuff that is too old. Like I said, today, Danish girlfriend said we had to clean our freezer. Why? Because it's full of stuff and we like to buy things and put them in the freezer and eat them, and now we're precluded from that. So Danish girlfriend said there are some things in the freezer that needs to be looked at and possibly discarded. Now this is something that when I was living by myself, the freezer basically became, well, a storage bin, like a long-term storage bin for food. And every now and then I'd be forced to, and I go, this is 3 years old. I can't have a piece of meat 3 years old. Danish girlfriend, on the other hand, has said, no, we're going to nip this in the bud and we're going to look at it. So she has, as you can see, have an array of food, questionable foods for us to go over. Now, the first one here is some steak, and this was purchased in the last 3 weeks. So she's going to let me have this tonight to eat. Not happy about it. All right, the big one, the biggest one here is, here's a piece of steak that we froze in December 23rd, December 5th, 2023, and Danish girlfriend, her eyes are rolling back in her right now, and we're going to have to throw that out. Now we have more meat here. This is a chicken breast nub. That is still okay, I can tell. Even I can tell I would eat this. Now there's a threshold between what Danish girlfriend and I will eat. And you know this, gentleman out there and ladies out there, that you basically says, as long as there's not something crawling out of the food, it's fine. I'll tell you something. I wish Danish girlfriend could be seen, because the winces she is giving me right now are priceless. So we have a piece of chicken. We have some roast beef that comes from sliced roast beef, August 7th, 2023. Now, how this ended up staying there, this has to go. Danish girlfriend saying this has to go. This one I'm actually going to have to take out of the bag to look at and to decide. This is some ground turkey nubbins. Those are still good. And then there's this pork dish that's going to have to be. So the moral of the story is, our different styles of how to use the freezer, what to use the freezer for, has come out. And I have to admit that she has a point. Because why save a piece? Be careful on what you buy. If you waste a little food, it's not so bad. Your health is important. And that is what Danish girlfriend is looking at me right now. So I will have to part with some of these things. It's not like they're family members. They're pieces of food. So treat yourself and because Danish girlfriend would have to eat what I eat, and then she would not want to do that. So we've got to take care of each other, not just ignore my own health. What struck me is that both of us thought we were doing the practical things. I thought saving food to eat another day was very practical. You don't want to waste food. And she, on the other hand, said saving food that is beyond its prime, when they get freezer burns and is no longer good, it's practical to throw it away. And we had trouble. I always thought you could just freeze food pretty much forever. I mean, you heard these things where they dig up a mastodon in some tundra somewhere and they decide, well, why don't we just eat it? And they find out, it's kind of tasty. I mean, maybe it's a little tough. I mean, talk about freezer burn. But I think my Danish girlfriend has a point. You should use the freezer in a practical way to store food, and so it's still good that you can eat, but don't use it as a storage bin. And don't let food just sort of stay in there till it's no longer any good for you, because that is not practical for you. Thank you kindly.